Hello, everyone. I'm Leslie Cadet, your guide to thriving in business and life through infusing the essentials of self-care. As we dive into the new year, I'm here to support you into making it your most energized and productive year yet. One critical aspect we often overlook is our sleep, especially as entrepreneurs, we're juggling countless responsibilities. And today, I want to explore how you can position yourself for better sleep. So let's talk first about the corporate world where I've had a lot of experience. In the corporate world, our days are structured for us, right? Work hours, our breaks, our tasks. But as entrepreneurs, we're in charge of our schedules, which can be overwhelming and disrupt our sleep patterns. Let me tell you about my experience working in law for over 4 decades. Working in law, of course, it can be really crazy, especially in the afternoon. That's when business starts to really pick up. It was kind of like a running joke. We would say, oh, the end of the day is coming. And that's when things start to pick up. Things start to get really busy and you're trying to like beat that rush so you can leave in time to catch your train. That was a lot of the talk by some of the paralegals and legal assistants in the office. And so the thing is, what was happening was what I noticed was that a lot of people were scrambling, people were stressed, they were, freaking out because they may not be able to meet that deadline. And knowing that they have this pressure of trying to catch their train to get home, especially if they had a long way to go. And so I myself, for example, working, especially the last few years before I transitioned to working for myself, I've been working for myself now for 6 years. But before that, when I was working full time, what I found was that the working the long hours wasn't just the whole picture. Part of that had to do with what happened outside of the office, which I had very little time outside of the office that was dedicated for myself. I had a long commute to work and I had a long commute home. And when I say long commute, I don't mean distance wise, I mean time wise, just because of the traffic. And then so I would have to get up really super early in the morning to leave super early to get to work in a relatively, I would say, short amount of time. And I kind of shared this before, but it would take me like almost an hour to get to work. It would take me almost a little over an hour, sometimes an hour and a half to get home if I left on time, which was 5 o'clock. But if I left later, then I could pare it down to an hour to get home. But I didn't live that far. And so it was very frustrating. So my days were getting up really early and my nights were going to bed early just so that I could get in enough sleep so that I could then take on the next day. There was a lot of pressure at work, right? Because again, working in a law firm, again, the pressures, you'd have the morning pressures, you'd have the midday pressures, but it was the end of day pressures of trying to like figure out and getting things done and not feeling like you had any time for yourself, meaning even during the day, finding ourselves like work, and not taking the necessary breaks, not taking lunch hours. A lot of the people that I worked with would eat at their desk. So that really wasn't really taking that essential time for themselves. And when I talked about it, I would bring it up. I was told that was just the pressure of our business is business as usual. So self-care didn't really feel like it was a priority, even though we talked a lot about how family was important, that taking care of ourselves was important. We never really actually looked at ways to make that happen. And I want to change that because I really feel like that's an important aspect in the industry, just even in corporate America, that really should be addressed because a lot of people are they are feeling really stressed out. They're losing a lot of people to leaves of absence because they're getting sick, even burnt out, or people are what they would call present at their desks, but they're not really present, meaning they're not really working because they're lethargic or they're just not feeling it, right? Because they're just not liking their job. A lot of the time when people say, I don't like my job or I hate my job, I kind of wonder sometimes, is it really that you don't like your job or that you hate your job? Or is it really because you don't like your life? Because you're not taking care of you and you're not feeling quality of life. So for me, self-care, as I've been watching over the past four decades of being in the industry and of course still supporting the industry in my own business, I've noticed that it seems like that whole aspect of wellness is really not, it's starting to take hold, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And again, the whole part about family, when I would notice that people would want to take time off for leaves of absence, whether it's through having children, whether someone in their family is ill, that whole idea of family first or family is important, that idea would get thrown around a lot, but felt like it wasn't truly being honored, because there would be people who would feel like they were being punished, or it was frowned upon that they were taking that leave of absence. So they were made to feel badly about it. So I really wanted to talk about today why self-care, especially when it comes to sleep, is so important. Because when you ensure a restful night's sleep, it will help you to tackle your diverse roles, whether you are an entrepreneur and a CEO, so you have a business, whether you're a solopreneur and you're the sole person of your business, or you have a team. It's important that you have a restful night's sleep, right? Because you want to come to work, you want to get into your role, you want to address all of the things that need to get done with the energy and focus. But if you're not getting a restful sleep, you can be very critical. Maybe you're snapping at your team members, especially if you have team members. Maybe you're not meeting deadlines because you just don't feel like doing it, or you just don't have the energy. And the same thing goes for being a team member. Maybe you're not getting enough sleep, and so you're finding your performance it's gone down. And maybe you might have felt like, even at times, and I know I've felt this way, I don't care. Like, that's kind of like, I would get into that mindset, I just don't care. And you don't want to get to that place, because it's not really that you don't care. It's just that you don't feel motivated, which is making you feel like you don't care. And that comes from not feeling rested, not having the energy. And even again, if you're still in corporate America and your days are structured for you, you still want to make sure that you get enough sleep, so that when you go into that day where you have that structure, you're in that box, you have that structure, you know what your day-to-day activities are, even the things that come up that unannounced, you are ready to tackle them. You have the energy, you have the focus, you have the motivation. So why am I talking to you about this today? Well, a year ago, I started paying closer attention to sleep, my sleep patterns, and my habits, and their impact on my productivity and my energy levels. I wanted to know why some days I felt great and some days I felt exhausted. I wanted to know why I slept well on some nights and found myself tossing and turning on others without, at the time, for me, an explanation that made sense. I couldn't figure it out, but then something changed for me. So let's first talk about what I found. So I started looking for reasons why, and I thought it was insomnia, because I had heard through the grapevine that my grandfather had suffered from insomnia, that my mother had suffered from insomnia, and that this was, I thought, hereditary. It's possible. I haven't actually looked up on the science behind that, but I did find out some things about positioning yourself for better sleep that could help. So did you know that sleeping on your right side might not be the best for you? I've been researching this and have taken steps over the past 12 months. And I wanted to share some of the insights with you that have profoundly impacted my life, my sleep habits, and my energy. And it all started with an article I received from Shape magazine, which piqued my curiosity. And so I took a closer look. And here's what I learned in the article. So the best sleeping position I learned is back sleeping. It's ideal for spinal alignment and reducing acid reflux, as suggested by sleep expert Michael Bruce, the clinical psychologist and author of the Sleep Doctor's Diet Plan, Lose Weight Through Better Sleep. The article stated that if back sleeping is your position of preference, you're scoring more benefits during shut-eye than you'd think. Michael Bruce said the reason is that your head is facing straight up and your weight is evenly distributed on your spine, making it the most orthopedically sound position. And unlike when your face is buried in a pillow, sleeping on your back allows gravity to pull down on your face and chest, which is beneficial for those suffering from acid reflux. With your head slightly elevated, your stomach sits below your esophagus, so acid and food are far less likely to come back up. Now, they also go on to say that if you are a snorer, that to beware sleeping on your back, because lying on your back is not the best sleeping position for sleep apnea. In fact, it's the worst sleeping position if you suffer from the condition, because your throat and belly are being pulled down by gravity, making it harder for you to breathe, explains Andrew Westwood, assistant professor of clinical neurology at Columbia University Medical Center. If you lie on your side or get pushed by your bed partner, that snoring goes away. My husband is a snorer, and it depends on how tired he is, depends on how loud his snoring becomes. And so, of course, I can't sleep with that. So I have to constantly, when he's in that place, to push on him to either turn on his side or to get him to stop snoring. And that could be really irritating, because I'm losing my sleep because he's exhausted. He's probably not getting optimal sleep either. Their suggestion is that for you to score better sleep, especially if you are a habitual snorer, that finding a different alternative, and we'll talk about that, for you to sleep. But unless you are a snorer, then back sleeping is the best sleeping position someone could choose for optimal health and day-to-day physical comfort. Now, the next best sleeping position is on your left side. I learned that left side sleeping is better for blood circulation and reducing pressure on your heart and veins. If snuggling up on your side is the most comfortable, experts recommend lying on your left side. And the reason they say to sleep on your left side rather than your right side is that sleeping on your right side pushes on blood vessels, preventing maximum circulation, says Michael Bruce. Because of this added pressure on your veins, your body moves more frequently through the night to accommodate the lack of circulation, resulting in all that fitful sleep your activity tracker is noting if you wear one of those. The left side, however, allows for cardiovascular returns, and that was noted by Christopher Winter, medical director at Charlottesville Neurology and Sleep Medicine, and meaning that your heart can easily pump blood throughout your body when there's less pressure on that region. So that got me to thinking, because I was thinking, wow, okay, sleeping on my right side isn't good for me. And I always thought that I had suffered from insomnia, that it was this hereditary thing that I inherited from on my mom's side of the family. And so here I was thinking, oh, that's just something I have to deal with for my entire life. And when I recognized that that's not necessarily true, that maybe there was something to this article, what I was reading, I wanted to know more, because I thought, okay, I'm going to actually start taking some steps. So then I started looking more into the article, and they were talking about right side sleeping. And they say that can cause discomfort and affect your lungs and your rib cage. If it's your preferred position, Jeff Robar, physical therapist at Northeast Rehab Hospital, recommends placing a firm pillow between your knees to support good alignment between your hips and joints. Doing this will help evenly distribute your weight throughout the night, easing that creaky feeling of discomfort some wake up with in the morning, according to the American Chiropractic Association. So right side sleeping, I learned that it can cause discomfort and affect your lungs and your rib cage. And so that was interesting. And that by putting a towel between your legs, that it could actually help you, that it could ease that pressure. Now, to go one step further, I also learned that the right side of your heart collects blood on its return from the rest of your body. The blood entering the right side of your heart is low in oxygen. Okay, your heart pumps the blood from the right side of your heart to your lungs so it can receive more oxygen. So there's a never-ending cycle. And so I can see why if you're on your right side, you are constricting the lungs and the vessels. And so that's putting pressure, which is making it harder for it to pump the blood over so that it goes through the left side and in through the rest of your body. So I was really interested by this. Now let's turn to stomach sleeping, because this is another position that my husband loved to sleep in. It's not recommended due to potential strain on your spine and your neck. And as I said, this is I discovered was one of my husband's favorite sleeping positions. And so this was of particular interest to me when I found out that experts are saying this position is a direct route to waking up with pain and discomfort in the morning. So sleeping on your stomach pulls the belly down. It hurts the curvature of your spine, forces your head to turn on a 90-degree angle, which winds up placing strain on your neck. The bottom line is it would not be the best sleeping position for neck pain. So instead, if this is the preferred choice of sleeping because you gravitate towards it, Robart is saying trade in your flat, fluffy pillows for a thin, firm one because it won't prop your neck up too high, allowing for a more even curvature of your spine and for better circulation. I should say that was Westwood. And then Robart suggests placing a pillow or two under your pelvic region, which will decrease compression on the arch of your lower back, allowing for a more natural alignment of the spine. So there were a few other things that I learned. I thought it was really interesting when I started reading about it, because as I said, I was trying to figure out why I was some nights I was sleeping great and waking up feeling amazing. And other nights I was tossing and turning and it couldn't for the life of me figure out what was going on, because I'd go to bed tired, but I just couldn't get to sleep or stay asleep. Now, there were a few other things that I learned about about having one leg up as opposed to both, but I wanted to try and keep this video as short as I could. Because what I found over the past 12 months, as I started to pay attention to my sleep patterns, how I either gravitated towards my left or my right side, if I was a back sleeper or not, was that it truly made a difference when I started to actively train myself to sleep on my back or to sleep on my left side. And I found myself sleeping deeper, having longer, more restful sleeps, and having more energy the next day. And this has been my experience over the past 12 months. So again, I've been doing this experiment for, again, January of last year, all the way to now. And I've been experimenting with my sleep positions and noticing significant improvements, whether it's adjusting to sleep on my back, which is not really necessarily my favorite, but I do from time to time, or using a pillow for better alignment on my side, or training myself to sleep on my left side if I choose to sleep on my side. These small changes have made a big difference for me. I encourage you to observe your own sleep patterns and positions, because if you're waking up tired or uncomfortable, it might be time for you to reevaluate how you're sleeping, because maybe it is only thing that you have to change is your positioning to get that sleep that you've been missing out on. If you're finding that you are hit and miss with your sleep, which is affecting your quality of life, tonight I encourage you to start by paying attention to how you go to sleep, right? How you sleep, how you go to sleep, which side you're gravitating to when you get into bed, the position you're waking up in the morning, and how you feel in the morning. Observe which position you wake up in and consider if there's a pattern that correlates with how you feel rested or not. You know, I used to believe that I suffered, again, like I said, from insomnia. And I believe that because of my observations over the past 12 months and me retraining my body how to sleep, that it has significantly made a difference in my energy levels and how I feel every day. I'm not waking up exhausted and low energy. Now, I do want to point out that quality sleep is not just about positioning yourself for better sleep. It is also about setting yourself up for a good night's rest, and I'll save that for another video. But the bottom line is that self-care, it comes in so many ways. How you support yourself, your mind, your body, your soul is important for quality of life, because I believe that self-care is the lifeblood for success in life and business, because when you take care of yourself the best you can, you get the best of you, and so does everyone and everything else in your life. You know, as entrepreneurs, we need to have that energy so we can show up as our best selves, right? Every day. And that starts with good sleep. So when you prioritize your rest, it helps you to ensure that you're energized and ready for your business challenges. Remember, taking care of your sleep is a vital part of self-care. It's not just about avoiding tiredness. It's about empowering yourself for success. Now, if you're having trouble prioritizing self-care, I've created a 30-day self-care adventure, which I'll make sure to post in the comments after the video so you can get access to it. In the meantime, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. I hope that you take my call to action to heart and really start paying attention to how you are sleeping, so that you can have more quality of sleep so that you can have more quality of life. I'm Leslie Gadet, self-care strategist for female entrepreneurs, helping them live their best lives. Stay tuned for more tips on living your extraordinary life by design, one day at a time. For now, I'll see you next time.